good day and welcome back. We're still in the JavaScript chapter, and in this section 8, we're going to be talking about functions and how to use them. I'll talk a little bit about the benefits of functions, but I wouldn't focus too much on it because over time you're going to see, and I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. So let's get started. What is a function? And this is my definition for it. It's a name given to a collection or set of statements. Now, you know what a statement is already. So what is a collection then, or a set? Well, we're just going to say a collection is more than one thing that's grouped together. Now, a mathematician might say that, or you can have an empty collection or empty set. We're not going to word that. We're just going to say that a function, for our definition, a function is when you have one or more statements together and you want to collectively describe those set of statements with one word. So we're going to say we're going to give those set of statements a name and we're going to call that a function. And we see exactly how you do that if it doesn't make any sense right now. So what are the benefits of function? Well, reuse. You can reuse a function over and over, and we've seen this. The developer of JavaScript give us the console.log function, the log function, and we've been using that over and over. We don't have to see inside of that function, it's given to us. Organization and abstraction. We're going to focus in this video on the reuse aspect of things, and then in future videos we'll see how function helps you organize your code and allow you to think and work at a high layer of abstraction. When you go to define a function, it looks something like this, and very compactly it's this keyword function followed by a name, which looks pretty much like a variable name, as you can see. This argument list, which is optional, depending if you want to provide parameters to your function / arguments. I'm going to use the word argument and parameter interchangeably, so if you see one or the other, don't get confused, I'm talking about the same thing. And then the body of the function. The body is what I refer to as that set one or more statements. It wouldn't make sense to write a function that had nothing inside of it, no statement. You could, but it would be pointless, really. And so for us, your function is going to contain one or more statements. And there's the argument list that is optional. That's all there is to it. If we were to expand our little compact description there, unpack it a little bit, it would kind of look like this. We have the function keyword, some name, and then the argument list, like I said, is optional, but it's a comma separated list of variable names and then one or more statement. That's it. And if you remember what we said about statement, a statement in Java could be terminated with a semicolon, or you don't have to. It's optional. Semicolon is optional, especially if you're going to put each statement on a line by itself. Again, very simple, right? Two ways to define a function in JavaScript, and we just seen one. We saw one of it just now, one of those ways just now. And here's the second way. This is called anonymous function, because if you look, you'll see it looks like you're creating a function without a name, right? And then you're somehow assigning that result to a variable, which looks just like when we said, var name or name equals varel, for example, or pi equals 3.14. It looks exactly like that, except on the right-hand side what you have is the value there is a function. Remember what we said before. We had said when we talk about the different types of data type or value type, we had said that our function is one of them. And it's right there in our hierarchy from the last video. Once you're comfortable with the idea that defining a function is just putting a name around a set of statements, well then how do you use that? Well, it's very simple. You just put the name that you give it, followed by open parentheses and a close parentheses. And that's it. That's what you call your function. Now, of course, if your function expects some values to be passed to it, then you'll have to put that inside of the parentheses. And that's where I have the square bracket and the ellipsis. So here's a simple example. So we're going to create two variables. One is going to be called name, and has the value of somebody's name or some name of something or some pet, whatever you like. And then I'll create another variable which contains a number, and you can call the variable anything you want, but I'm going to use pi. Then I'm going to define a function called say hello one, and in that function I'm just going to do two things. I'm going to accept two parameters, and the first one I'm going to expect it to be a name, and I'm going to say hello to that name that is passed in, and then the second parameter I'm going to expect to be a number, and I'm just going to print out what the value of that number is. And then I'm going to create a second function, and it's going to be exactly like the first one, and the only difference is that instead of doing function and then name, I'm going to do an anonymous function, and then that's going to get evaluated and assigned to this variable say hello to. But that's really only the difference. The contents or the statement they enclose are exactly the same in both functions. And so you can see when we run this example, we're going to get the same result from say hello 1 and say hello 2. Because in reality, they enclose the same set of statements, so you should expect the same result. So as I promised, I'll show that how functions are values that you can pass around. And so if you weren't convinced of that by the anonymous function, here's an example where I have 3 functions, and 2 of them I pass into one function as parameters, and then use the third function to call the other 2. I'm not going to go through the describing this because we're not really there yet. I just wanted to demonstrate it. So if you're curious, the code is going to be in the repository, and it's in that directory for this section. So have fun. And thanks again. See you in the next video. Take care.